Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Hannah, a girl who is raised in the middle of nowhere by her father, and she is a government-made killing machine who is then brought into the real world after she hits this tracking device, and they track her, and then her dad goes away, and then she goes on this big adventure running away from them, and they kidnap her, and then she escapes from there, and they have to find this killing machine that the government has made. There's nothing that really separates this film from something like Faster with The Rock. It's probably a little better, but it's very empty. There's very little depth in this movie. I mean, I kind of let this film kind of wash over me, but I didn't connect with any of the characters. I was a little surprised how much emptier it was than I expected, but I still think it's a fun action genre film, but that's kind of all it is. I mean, you know, it has some really great cinematography mixed in with that, and I think you can definitely tell it's by Joe Wright. This isn't as, I think, impressive. He doesn't do what he does with a World War II drama that he does with a genre action film. It's a little predictable because every time they want to have a kick-ass action sequence, they'll run around and then they get to this really cool location. They're like, oh, okay, then we can fight. Like when Eric Bana was running around, these guys were chasing him, and then he gets to a part that looks like, you know, you could take awesome photographs there because the architecture is so weird. That got a little tiresome, you know, or like they'd stop. She's like, oh, we have to check the map. Of course, it's right near a shipping yard, so we can have an awesome action sequence. The score by the Chemical Brothers is probably my favorite score of the year so far. It's a little more techno than I really expected, but they are the Chemical Brothers. So it reminded me of a comic book, or more specifically like a graphic novel, and Barry Windsor Smith would have drawn it. The story is very basic, but it works. But then the actual script itself is kind of lame and doesn't really do that much. And I actually think if you turn down the volume and just watched it like without any sound, you could probably actually follow it. I don't see a lot of films that can really do that without dialogue. I feel like this film doesn't know how to really incorporate its style with the script and the direction really meld together. I mean, it was like a mixture, but it didn't really mix all that well. Anyone's in this film's maybe a real character. I think they're caricatures and they're very good at it, but they're not really characters, you know. I don't think this film is a film that I would classify as relatable. I didn't relate to The Rock in Faster either. That wasn't what this film was going for. If you look at this film more as caricatures and less as characters, I think you will be okay with it. It is a unique film in the way it was shot and the way it was edited and the way it's paced, and I like its pacing. Hannah is basically shot like an A picture, but it's written like a B picture. And that's fine, and there's plenty of people like Spielberg, for example, who can do that very well. Have a B story or base to your film and then expand on that. This film doesn't really do that. What you could say by this film is that, can a film work without a good script? Well, I guess in a way it does, but in another way, no. Half of this film is very interesting and different and unique, and another half of it just isn't. This film isn't trying to comment on violence. It just has violence in it because it's an action movie. So in one way, I think maybe I'm a little too pretentious, and I want my action films to either say something about violence or say something about something, and this film doesn't. It just lacks that depth. I should be okay with that, because I'm okay with Faster. So if you've seen Hannah and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to.